So live streaming on Twitch or YouTube, if you do that, kind of sucks sometimes. And these are four reasons that I feel like are just really annoying. Four things that I feel like are really annoying about live streaming online today. Number one is that 80% of the time, you feel like you're making garbage content. So it could be because you're actually having a bit of an off day. That happens. But there's also like this weird psychological effect that is really annoying. And if you've ever streamed, you've probably experienced this. If your numbers are low, like your view count, whatever, however you decide to quantify your stream, your subconscious thinks that it's because of something that you're doing. It thinks that you're doing something wrong. Whereas in my experience, it's almost always not that. In my experience, I feel like it's almost always something that's not in your control. Your content is not the reason why your numbers are the way they are. With streaming, content is definitely not king. Reputation is king. Content can build your reputation over time, but what you're doing in the moment is essentially irrelevant to the numbers that you're pulling in. Your brain doesn't really understand that, I feel like, subconsciously. So if things aren't going super well, you feel like it's your fault, like you're not doing good enough. You could be doing just fine, and chances are you probably are doing just fine, especially if you're worrying about things like that. Number two is that it feels like work. It feels like you're working, like you're moving towards some sort of goal, but you're never actually making progress. Streaming on Twitch and thinking you're going to become well known from that is kind of like playing a video game and thinking that like you're going to be like the best at it one day and you're going to be well known. 99.9% of the time, that is not going to happen. You're kind of just wasting your time. A lot of streamers like to have kind of a grind mentality, and I definitely am at fault for some of this too. But it's not healthy, because if you're grinding and not having fun, you should be grinding towards a goal, towards some sort of, you should be grinding on something that's gonna get you somewhere, you know? And Twitch streaming isn't gonna do that. It's not going to accomplish the goal that you're trying to set. Honestly, even playing a video game trying to get good is a better use of your time if you're going to be in the grind set, because you'll probably actually get good. Whereas with streaming, if your goal is to get big, to get famous, to get well known, to get rich, whatever, it's never going to happen. A lot of people stream because they feel like, oh, I'm being more productive this way. And sure, I mean, you're not necessarily losing anything by streaming if you're playing a game, but don't fool yourself. It's not more productive than just playing the game. You should stream if you enjoy it, if it's fun to you, but streaming for the grind is pointless. It's kind of like you're Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill, but the rock is too heavy and you can never actually move it. So the rock is going nowhere. You're at the bottom of the hill and you've been pushing on it for 2 years and it's gone nowhere. So if your goal, if you find pushing on the rock to be worthwhile, to be fun, then sure, streaming's for you. But if your goal is to get it to the top of the hill, maybe you should not do that. If your goal is to get it to the top of the hill, you're never actually going to make it up there. The thing about streaming is it's one of those things where it only works like that if you're already well known. There's confusion people have when they see a famous person doing something and they think that doing that will make them famous. There are things that well-known people do, and there are things that people do to become well-known. Twitch streaming, or streaming in general, is something that well-known people do. It's not something that people do to become well-known. Those examples happen, but they're very far and few between. And there's usually something else underpinning that meteoric rise. Usually you're extremely prolific in some game, or you have some other way that you become well-known. Streaming alone is not something that works like that. It's like setting up a merch store for a brand, and you expect the merch store to become famous on its own. That's basically what you're expecting when you're streaming trying to get big. The third thing that's really annoying is your chatters get to be anonymous. Not all of them are anonymous, but they have that choice, right? But you definitely don't have that choice. Usually this isn't too much of a problem. Most people are, pretty civil. You may get the occasional person hitting you with a shit ton of follow bots, or you get people showing up in your chat flexing their follow age when they haven't actually talked in chat for like 16 months. Those are the good examples. The more heinous stuff, when that comes out, it gets kind of scary. You can get people targeting you, hacking you, which has happened to me, DDoSing you, which has happened to me. You get people dox you, and then you get people swatting you, which is obviously really nerve-wracking. And one of the things that had to think about and kind of a morbid thought, but like, we have a dog and I always wonder like, if we get swatted, is the dog going to be threatening enough that the police shoot the dog? I don't, I have to think about it. Like my mind thinks about that kind of stuff and it sucks. Like I shouldn't have to think about that. It forces you to have to be very protective of any identifying information about yourself because you have to assume it's a zero trust environment. If any information gets out, it will probably be used against you at some point. That causes a lot of paranoia. Accidents happen. Sometimes you leak a location or you leak a phone number or you leak an IP address or whatever. And now you have to be paranoid. Like, oh, great. Now am I going to get DDoSed or whatever? So there's a fear to it when you lose the little bit of anonymity that you have. And chatters have a huge advantage over you, or viewers, I should say, is that, they don't have to worry about shit like that. If their IP address gets leaked as a viewer, it's nothing, it's meaningless. Like what is somebody going to do with that? If you as a streamer leak your IP address, somebody can DDoS you and knock your stream down. And that's kind of a less harmful example, but it's still really annoying, and then you have the issue where, if you do leak information, then you have to go through these steps to try to re-anonymize yourself. You have to change your phone number. You have to change your IP address, which I've had to do multiple times, or you have to move, at the worst case. That sucks. I shouldn't have to move to keep streaming because I'm worried about somebody sending police to my house that could kill my dog, And then the last reason, at least that I can think of right now, is there are a lot of very draconian content policies out there. Speaking mainly from the perspective of Twitch, and I know you may remember there was a fiasco a little while ago where they unbanned like drawn nudity, like artistic nudity or whatever, and it got rolled back within like 2 days, which I think is stupid. Like, come on, man. It's a fucking nipple. Like, this is why advertisers pull their ads. You can show somebody getting their head ripped off or whatever, and nobody gives a shit about that. These policies, they do make sense in terms of like, you don't want to authorize people to do a lot of these things, hate speech, racial slurs. The thing that annoys me is that it seems like there's very little lenience in how the rules are applied. I mean, first of all, if you're not a partner on Twitch, it's extremely hard to get banned. Like, you have to probably be like live streaming pornography for a significant period of time. Don't tell anyone this, but that would be an experiment. If somebody were to run that experiment to see how long it actually stayed up, that would be interesting for me to see. Obviously not saying go do it, and I'm not gonna do it. But if you're not partnered on Twitch, it's really hard to get banned on Twitch. A lot of this is probably fairly unfounded, and I have a lot of, acquaintances in the streaming space that have done some very non-content policy adhering things that have been completely fine. They stuff clips of it up on their channel or whatever. It's not that this stuff is happening constantly, but the way that the policy is worded, it's not very lenient. Like, when you're doing live feeds, accidents can happen. Sometimes somebody can slip up, say something they didn't mean to say, or show something they didn't mean to show. Or you can have situations where something you don't really have a lot of control over, like you join a lobby in a game and somebody starts, throwing out a bunch of non-content policy words. I mean, you can obviously mute them, but you could get in trouble for that. And I feel like that's kind of silly. And what that leads to is now you have to play it so safe. And that just degrades the viewer experience, because now I have to always have everyone muted. I have to always be in streamer mode. It degrades the experience. It's fucking annoying. And then as a streamer, you have this constant like undertow of, what if I break the rules? I have to be super careful, and it just puts a damper on everything. I feel like the content policy should only really apply to people that are endorsing things that are, directly against it. The content policy a lot of times doesn't really leave a lot of room for that. And there's interpretation to it, favoritism, sexism. It happens. That's another thing that's annoying about streaming, is worrying about content policy. That's all I can really think of right now. I don't want this to be like, I hate streaming, I'm quitting streaming, like streaming sucks. It's more just like, these are aspects about it that are negative, but I still enjoy it. I enjoy the process of it. It keeps me somewhat mentally active, which is, that's a nice positive. There's a lot of positives too. I may make a video on the positives at some point. So stay tuned.